Hey guys, good morning. It is morning here in San Diego. At least it's 10:34 a.m. It is Big Man Comics Live, and I will be working on what you see right there. This is I'll make myself a little bit bigger. I'm gonna eat a super mushroom like Mario. Watch this. How's that sound go? And then I grew bigger to save the princess. Okay, so there I am. And welcome in. I'm having a great time. I'm having a lot of fun. Last night we had a great night on Double Impact. We broke down this awful 1990, 91 action movie called The Perfect Weapon. It was truly dreadful. And I like bad movies, like bad action movies when they're funny. Like they're so bad, it's good. That's a great concept. What makes a movie truly bad to me is when it's boring. Like it's bad, but it's also like, damn, you're like checking your watch. You're like, when is this thing gonna be over? Holy shit. So The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. He's fantastic on screen. He's got the look, he's got the muscles. He is an outstanding martial artist. Acting wasn't for him. It just I felt no charm, no gravitas, no energy, no nothing like that. So yeah, it was interesting movie. Grant Rasha says awesome movie. Awesome to laugh at, sure. So here is page, I believe, 36 of the Unstoppable Tyrus. I'm up to page 50 on pencils, and here we are to page 36 on ink. So we are cruising, baby. We are working on this. I did this last night on my show. I inked up that. Why is he doing a backwards swan dive off of a cliff onto a ratty mattress on the ground? You're going to have to read. I tell you guys, I added a little bit of comedy to this. It's not like a MCU movie where it's a quip a minute. I hate that sort of humor that they do in the Marvel movie. I don't like the Marvel movies. A lot of you guys do, and that's fine. More for you. If I don't watch them, that's an extra seat in the theater for you. I can't stand the Marvel movies. And it's because of that humor, that smart alecky, insulting everyone, insincere, very crass, ugly sense of humor. It's a very hateful sense of humor. I don't like it. It's awful. And as a professional joke writer, I don't know if you guys know, I started off my career writing humor and doing comic strips when I was in college, and it wasn't some low budget small potatoes thing. I won many awards for the 2 years I did that. When award season would come around at the banquet and stuff like that, I was racking them up. So I do know my way around writing a joke and humor. And the Marvel movie, their humor is the opposite of that. That is the death of humor. That stuff, it's terrible. I truly despise that stuff. Who's in the chat here? Steel Leg of History, welcome in, friend. How are you doing today? Be blessed. Yeah, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Grant Rasha Towers is so big he uses cliffs as his diving board, and that sounds like an introduction to Grant Gutfield would use. Yeah, what a great show they have. What great success. My friend Tyrus is getting an award at Mar-a-Lago like in a week or two. Very proud of that. Awesome. Very much deserving. If you know Tyrus's life story, he's a fantastic dude. He came from very beginning similar to mine with the broken home and moving out to California when he was 8. That's what happened to me. Parents got divorced. I remember my 8th birthday party was in Colorado, where I was born and raised at first. And then on August 4th of 1986, a few weeks after my 8th birthday party, we moved to sunny San Diego. My mom, my brother, and I lived in an apartment and blah, blah, blah. And it was a whole childhood here in North County, San Diego, which is a beautiful place. I no longer live in North County, San Diego. I live much closer to the beach now. It's funny, in a city like San Diego with such perfect weather, you can get even better weather by moving 10 miles. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm grateful to live here. Yes, it's California. We have a lot to deal with the politics, but I believe it can be fixed. And I'm believing we can turn California around and save it. I do believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's wishful thinking and I'm being delusional, but I believe it. I choose to believe it. This can be, once again, the greatest state in the union, because it was at a time past. If you ask people that lived here in the 80s and all that and previous, and even in the 90s, this was a land of opportunity with the most perfect weather and just the most beautiful locale, and business was still good to do here and all that. And we weren't always overrun by a completely Democratic legislature here. And you see that that's falling out of favor now. Just nationally, people are just kind of sick of the left party because they went too far. They've just gone way too far. It's total nonsense. Bobby Blanding, good laughs on the humor of Marvel. They don't really write jokes; they're just snarky me. Yeah, it's hateful. You can feel how hateful that stuff is. Emily Kruger says, "Hail." Grant Rasha says he did a great interview with Trump. Yeah, Tyrus killed it with Trump in that interview. Absolutely. I had a real heartfelt moment with Tyrus privately, and I can share it because he also talked about this publicly. But I think he was in an interview with Sage Steele, and she was asking him, what would you tell your parents now? Because he had some hard relationship stuff with his mom and dad and all that. What would you tell them now if you could, with all your success and this and that? And he got choked up, and he fought back the tears like a man, and he was just like, "How'd I do?" From someone who was destined to be a poor loser from a broken home and mixed race, and there was some racism he had to deal with actually when he was young, and pretty significant stuff he had to deal with. It was ugly, but it's in his autobiography. I'm not telling tales out of school, but you could see the emotion on his face of like, "Hey, I did something with my life, damn it!" And I was, and he was counted out early. And after that interview with Trump, I texted him and told him how proud I was of him, and I wrote to him and I said, "Hey, man, I'm so proud of you. That was amazing that you interviewed Trump." And he interviewed me on that show, that Maintain with Tyrus. It was fun to get interviewed with him on that show. And he just texted back to me and said, "How'd I do?" And I knew how he was feeling then from the earlier remarks, you know. So yeah, very proud of him. Very proud to work with him and be associated with him. This book is just a blessing to be working on because it's everything that I think is important. And Tyrus and the guy who's penciling the book. See, I'm the inker. So I finish the drawings. I embellish the drawings. He lays them all out in pencil. Akeon is just a masterful illustrator, and it really makes it easy for me to look really good. It's unbelievable. So everyone's passionate about what we're doing here. Everyone's having a lot of fun. But let's see. Hollywood and San Francisco are the gateways to hell. Grant Rosher says that's news to me. Tyrus has achieved so much. He never thought he would have been so successful. Good things happen if you're determined, but he put in the work and it paid off. Yeah, hell yeah, he put in the work, and he still does. He's very successful now. I'm sure quite wealthy, and he's there early and he's leaving late over there at Fox News. And he's a talent. He has it. You know what I mean? He gets in front of a camera and he has it. He's got a quick wit. He's very funny, and he's one of the reasons he's so successful is because he is brave enough to do what so many men and women, but mostly men who I think are called to this more than women, is speak the truth. Don't say what people want you to say, what you think they want you to say. Say what is true. Tell the truth. Don't be a effing liar, like just tell the truth. Call bullshit bullshit. Call it that. It deserves to be called that. So that's what drew me to him and him to me, because I spoke out right against DC Comics. Boy, do I have a doozy of a video for you guys tomorrow. My old friend Tom Taylor is at it again. I don't if you guys don't know Tom Taylor. He's an Australian, and he's woke as hell, and he loves to write subversive social garbage, social justice warrior garbage at DC Comics. And he was the writer on the book where I walked off. I walked off the job. I'm like, I'm out of here. I resigned. I didn't walk off the job. I told them, I had some dignity about it. I said I would finish the contract. I would finish doing the few issues I had left on my contract in protest, even though I didn't agree with the politics and this and that, but I did sign the contract. And they had a tantrum like, no, thanks. And then they thought they weren't going to pay me. And it's funny, you can imagine the kind of lawyers that Warner Brother has on retainer, right? These got to be $1 billion guys. And I out-argued him we argued back and forth in the email because they were like, no, you're going to go away and you're not going to get paid for this shit. And I cited some statutes in the state of California that were just a quick Google search away, but I had already known about them. It's CS 1-001 and 1-002. I believe that's what they are. That's off the top of my head. I'm not an attorney, but basically there are laws that go almost 90 years back to the 1930s saying that businesses can't do anything at all to people concerning employment. And although I wasn't an employee, it's contract employment, right? You can't do anything to me for my political views, speech, or affiliation at all. And that's what they were doing. And they know that that's what they were doing. So I told them that. I told them that in the email. I was like, you can't do that just because I have the wrong politics for Warner Brothers. And so I didn't finish the contract on Superman or Legion of Superheroes, but they paid me. They sent a big old checkecito, baby. It was nice. And, and that's what happens when you tell the truth and you have righteousness on your side. You know, they thought they were going to bully me and tell me, "Oh, get out of here, and we're not paying you for your contract." While I was willing to finish the contract, even though I hated the work, I was going to do a good job. You look at all my work I did for them, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. I'm really good at this. God has blessed me. I'm very good at this. And I was never going to turn in shabby work. That's not a thing with me. So, because I asked my dad when I wanted to leave DC Comics, I'm like, Dad, they want to do all this social justice, anti-American, the underage son of Superman, like his sex life is going to be part of the focus. Like, Dad, I don't want to do any of this. This is not why I got into this. And like, I need to quit. My dad said, well, don't just abandon them. That's not right. You signed a contract. Yes, like leave, but like finish it. Tell them, just write them an email, thank them for the work, and tell them you're moving on to other things. And that's what I did. It was very peaceful at first. But then in public, I said I didn't like what they were doing, and they had a big cow about that, and tried to not pay me. So we settled that. We win. That's what Gabe Eltaeb does. I win. You know, I'm a winner. I don't lose to people like that, evil people like that. No, thank you. Grant Rasha, good things happen if you were determined and you put in work and paid off. I read that one already. Grant Rasha says that's what Gutfeld liked about him. That's what everyone likes about him. You know what I mean? That's what everyone likes about the guy. He's authentic. WYSIWYG. WYSIWYG. What's WYSIWYG? What you see is what you get. You know, and I try to be exactly the same way. I'm transparent. You guys want to ask me about art and life or whatever. I might not always be right, but I'll always tell you what I think. I do not fear the truth, for the truth sets us free. I'm not going to come up here and pretend to be anything I'm not. You know, I'm an open book. You guys can ask me things. You guys can ask me anything. I'll tell you what I think. Again, I'm not perfect. I could be incorrect about what I think or believe, but I'm always willing to recalibrate and change my opinions when I'm given new information. So, but yeah, you're not going to get the unvarnished truth better from anyone than me. Maybe the same as, but no, I'm going to be straight with you. There's no other way. I have a burning desire for the truth because it's what makes our lives better. I really do believe that. I mean, that there's a biblical principle, right? It says the truth shall set you free. If you tell the truth about things and understand what things are, because that's what the truth is, then you can deal with reality. You can deal with the hardest things in life if you're just honest about it. I think one thing too many people do is they put their head in their sand and go, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. And it's like, no, it's happening and you better deal with it. You know, people live in denial sometimes and it really hurts them. Grant Rasha says comics, TV, and movies have destroyed our heroes. Yeah, well, that's why we're making new ones. That's what you're here watching here. And what you don't have to worry about with the Unstoppable Tyrus is filth for your children. We're not doing that. But you're like, so it's like a baby. It's boring. It's for babies. No, you can actually make wonderful work, and you don't have to be filthy and crass. See 1980s Indiana Jones, right? It's not filthy. It's okay for kids to watch, and it's heroic, and it teaches good morals. So there you go. You don't have to worry about what are the kids going to see when they flip the next page of the Unstoppable Tyrus. Is it going to be something you didn't want your kids to see? No, I'm never going to do that. But is it going to bore adults because it's for 7-year-olds? No, because it's not for 7-year-olds. It's for everyone, and you can actually do that. I know a lot of stupid people think you can't. They think you need to have these characters like Tony Soprano and Deadpool and all these filthy people. That how the hell is that a hero? It's an awful character. Is it well written? Is it well acted? Is it actually entertaining? Of course, those things are entertaining. Just because something makes you feel good doesn't mean it's good for you. See heroin, right? Makes people feel great, but it's just about one of the worst things anyone can do is take drugs, right? So yes, you can have entertainment that is super entertaining and fun and exciting to watch, and it is filth, and you shouldn't watch it. You know, I don't know why that's so hard for so many people to admit to themselves. Like, yes, this is fun. I love, Game of Thrones and this and that, and it's super intriguing. And and it's just filled with horrible people doing horrible things, unnecessary sex scenes. It's edgy and filthy for the sake of being edgy and filthy. Did any show shit the bed more than Game of Thrones? Nobody talks about Game of Thrones now. Nobody cares about it. That was a disaster. And it's wokeness that ruined Game of Thrones because it will go back. We're going back in time. Game of Thrones, they subverted expectations, right? They what they did was they had it basically set up so Jon Snow, the bastard, he was going to defeat the Night King or the Ice King, or whatever the hell that guy was, and then his little scrawny sister jumps out and does it instead. And you can't do things like that. You just can't. It just pisses everyone off, because what art is, in its simplest terms, is just patterns. That's all art is. I recreate. I don't create anything. Only God creates. I recreate the patterns of nature, whether it be story logic or a drawing or whatever. I recreate the patterns of nature. Your brain is primed to recognize the patterns of nature. So when I recreate them successfully, then your brain goes, ooh, that was a pattern, and you get a little dopamine hit. That's the scientific side of what's going on with art. So when you have this weak little female character jump out and destroy the Ice King, or whatever the hell he was, the Night King, when everything in the pattern that had been being written and filmed and watched on TV for years was telling you it was going to be Jon Snow, and then it doesn't happen, you have this thing psychologically that's called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, it incurs psychological pain, actually. So it's actually unpleasant. It's that phenomenon when you pick up a glass of water, you take a huge gulp, and it's not water, it's Sprite. It freaks you out for a millisecond. You're having cognitive dissonance. Your brain is like water. Your tongue is like, nope, this is something else. And that bothers you, and it should. It's a survival mechanism, because you need to understand your reality around you. And when reality doesn't match what you believe it is, you experience psychological pain. So when they write these SJW stories, it isn't just bad writing. I don't like those. It isn't just bad writing. It's actually incorrect writing. I know people, oh, art is subjective. No, art's not subjective. Not at all. Art is patterns, and patterns are objective. They're not subjective. Art is subjective is a very left-wing, postmodern kind of garbage thing to say, because they just want to splatter monkey shit on the wall and then charge $10,000 for it, right? And that's not how it works. That's not how anything works. So there's a reason that the good stuff rises to the top. Oh, yeah, the cream rises to the top, right? Didn't Randy Macho Man Savage say that? And there's a reason that we all know good art when we see it, because the pattern recognition in your brain is firing. It's going, oh, yes, that's a correct pattern. And you already know the patterns before you see them. You're primed to understand them before you see them. Let me check the chat real quick. Steel Leg of History. I gave up on comics for over 20 years or so, but when I got to know you through Eric and got your last comic, I found my passion for reading them again. So proud of you. Be blessed. Thank you, man. Care 73. What is the best way to create depth and coloring? That is and Sean Lasage. Hey, you can draw feet. I have to draw feet because all of my characters. Do any of my characters have wheels instead of legs? No, I think they all have feet, or at least hooves. Yeah, when you can draw anything. That's a funny question. And Kara, I'll get back to your coloring question in a second. It's you can ask any artist. It's bizarre to us, but I suppose it's not bizarre to people who aren't artists, because how would you know? Right? If someone started telling me the most detailed things about duck hunting, it would be fascinating and something previously unknown to me, because I don't duck hunt. But to the duck hunters, they'd be like, yeah, I knew that. So when talking about drawing certain things, when you could draw anything, because you can draw. It's all the same thing. Drawing anything it's the same action over and over and over. What you're doing when you draw, let me scoot over here to a blank spot. All you're doing when you draw is drawing spheres, cubes, triangles, drawing cones. That's all you're doing. And then you're just, if you need to shade it, you're shading it. That's it. You need a cast shadow, right? If you need a shadow, that's all you're doing, is drawing three-dimensional objects in space. So since everything is made of that, that's all you're doing. So to draw, because people, can you draw horses? Can you draw this? I can draw shapes. That's all anything is. It's all just shapes. So but I mean, there's so much to it. You could fill endless volumes on what to draw and how to draw it and this, that, and the other. And I don't know. It's a lifetime of continuous research and improvement. You're never. It's like guys that go to the gym. It's like anyone who's good at anything. You're never. Anyone with an insane gym body, they're never going to stop going to the gym. I mean, maybe when they're in their very, very old age, but even then they'll probably lift up some 5 or 10 pound dumbbells. You never stop. And you should never stop. You should never stop learning, never stop growing. Gabe, that was a joke about another artist. No, I know what you're saying. You're talking about Rob Liefeld because people always give him shit about drawing feet. Now, feet and noses, they're difficult to learn to draw because they're always presented so three-dimensionally, because other objects you could just draw them flat to the camera right away to learn. You could draw a hand flat to the camera, but as soon as you do this with a hand, right? Look how gnarly some of my fingers are from drawing so much. Look at my pinky. I can't straighten it out, by the way. It doesn't hurt or anything. I have total use of my hands, but I cannot straighten it out. But yeah, as soon as you turn things to the camera, it gets tough. And the shape of the foot being that triangle wedge it is, it's constantly like needing to be turned to the camera. So it is a bit of a challenge to draw, but just learn how to draw in perspective, right? So you're just learning, okay, here's a circle. Now we add lines and we add another circle. We can add some ribs. Now that's a tube in perspective, right? We add a shadow inside. These principles are not that hard to eventually figure out, So, and the foot is no different. The nose is no different. But you really have to think of drawing. Think of it as sculpting, like you're sculpting clay. Think of it that way. Because I'll tell you, the problem with drawing for most people when it's not working is they're not drawing shapes. They're not drawing through. What they're drawing is stamps. Like, this is an eye, an almond with a thing. That's a stamp of an eye. That's not an eye. That's just a stamp pad from your subconscious. Because an eye, remember, there's an eyeball, there's this, and then the eyelid's going to go around that, right? So it's going to wrap around the eyelid. Then you have the tear duct in here. So things are going to be constantly changing their angle to the camera because it's a ball. So it's going to keep going in every direction, this thing, because it's a ball. So that eyelid's going to wrap around all the way around, all the way around the eye like that, like the rings of Saturn. So it's all just thinking about those primal shapes: sphere, cube, cone, triangle, things like that. Just those basic shapes, those volumes in space, and then how to deal with them. Because like his legs, they're just tubes. They're just tubes in space, right? His shorts, his boxer shorts here, it's just a tube. I'm deforming it because the wind is rustling it. But at the end of it all, it's just a tube. These arms, they're just tubes coming toward the camera, right? So this is, you got your shoulder socket, you got like where the bicep is, you got the wrist, and it's just a tube coming out. So you make sure the lines go on that, and that's, how you're going to make this. And the fingers, they're just tubes coming towards the camera, so that so you got to start small there, where you're learning how to I would do drills and all that of drawing tubes, drawing spheres, right? This is what they do when you go to art school. In Art 1, you do a bunch of projects doing primal shapes and learning how to shade them and then move them in perspective. But once you can start to see that stuff and think three-dimensionally with those shapes, it really unlocks a ton of stuff for you. But Kara asks, what's the best way to create depth in coloring? Well, coloring, the way human beings perceive color, and this is proven with scientific research, we do not see absolute color. We see relative color, right? So if we put red next to green, they're going to be redder and greener because they're opposing colors. If we put black next to white, they're lighter and darker. But if we have gray, then it's kind of medium. So we don't ever see absolute color like a camera does. A camera is optical color. It's seeing it like perfectly on the wavelength. Our brain is doing a subconscious averaging thing. You know what I mean? And remember, you have black and white vision and you have color vision. I don't know if you know this, but your peripheral vision on the side, out of the corner of your eye, there's no color in that vision. And the reason for that is your brain notices difference the most with value. And value is no color. Value is black and white. That's what value means in art. So imagine there's a rattlesnake or there's something you need to notice in the corner of your eye. You don't want color vision. You're going to notice it easier with lights and darks. Oh, that little dark thing is moving against the white background. So the best way to create depth in color is with difference. It's just difference. So light and dark different, texture difference. You don't want to have a lot of detail on the thing in the front and a lot of detail on the thing in the back. It just turns into like paisley wallpaper and everything disappears, like a Where's Waldo or something like that. Color. I was a natural at color and I didn't understand why. Because I'm always telling you guys, anyone can learn anything. Nobody is really naturally world-class gifted at art where you pick up a pencil at 7 and you're like already a world-renowned level artist, right? There are people that have artistic skill and they're naturally better, but it isn't free, and it is a skill you have to hone. And the first time I colored comics, I mean, I got hired coloring right out the gate. And I couldn't understand why, because it's like, I never practiced coloring and I'm amazing at it and I just understand it. This was a mystery to me for like 20 years. I didn't understand why I was so good at coloring and I'd never practiced it, or so I thought. And then we were on a live stream. I was with my buddy Shant, former co-host of Double Impact, and we were talking about those little tabletop miniatures of Space Marines. You've heard of this, Warhammer, like orcs and aliens and all this stuff. And I realized all through like middle school and into high school, I bought those miniatures and painted them. And it gave me a sense of color doing that for years. So then when I came to Photoshop, I'm like, well, I understand color because I just did it. And anything you want to do, just do it and you'll just understand it. You know, get around people who know more than you, ask them questions. Now with the internet and YouTube, look up all kinds of information. Sure. But there's two types of knowledge. There's epistemological knowledge and there's technical knowledge. And one of those is kind of worthless compared to the other, and that's epistemological knowledge. Epistemological knowledge is what the liberals like to refer to as, I have a degree. I have a degree. A degree means fuck all. A degree is jack shit. It doesn't mean anything. A degree means you had privilege. To throw one of their concepts back at them, a degree means you had the privilege to go to college. That's all a degree means. It doesn't mean you're smart. It doesn't mean you know anything. And in fact, in today's culture of worshiping academia, it actually tells me if you're leaning on that, I have a degree, you're actually stupider than the average person. Technical knowledge, as opposed to epistemological knowledge, is the kind of knowledge I'm gaining every second that I'm doing this. Okay? Technical knowledge is the knowledge that comes from doing things. An example I give people is I could want to be the greatest quarterback of all time. And I could get every book, every note, every playbook, every video about the NFL and read how it's done, how to throw the ball, how to call the plays, how to be the greatest quarterback of all time, and then stop there and never touch a football or anything, and then walk onto a football field and see what happens to you. You'll get demolished by the other players. You'll get probably injured and have to sit out the rest of the season. Whereas if you just play football, never read a book about it, and you just experience it over and over and over, you'll actually have masterful knowledge. So anything you want to do, like Nike said in their slogan in the 90s, just do it. And as you just do it, that technical knowledge is true knowledge. Epistemological knowledge isn't knowledge. All epistemological knowledge means is you have the ability, or at least the privilege, to sit there and listen to people who have really done it tell you how they really did it. That doesn't mean anything. That won't teach you anything. I'm telling you guys about drawing and coloring. Try and do it right now because I explained it to you. You can't do it. Not yet, but you could do it if you did the whole thing I said, which is understand what I said and then apply it for years. Then your skills will grow. But to think you're just going to hear something and then, I have a degree. I have a degree. I know. You don't know shit. I'd like to tell those stupid liberal like people who worship college. And by the way, I have a degree myself. I was on the honor roll in college. I got straight A's for 4 years, except for 2 classes. How many classes do you take in college? Like, I don't know. What is it? Like 4 a semester? That's like 8 a year. I don't know. What, 4 or 5 a semester? So we'll say 8 or 10 a year for 4 years. I got straight A's in every single class in college, except for 2 classes. I got a B in one and a C in the other. And the one I got a C in, I got ripped off. It was a ceramics class, which should have been easy to get an A. And my teacher, David George Zayer, assistant professor at University of Northern Colorado, lost like the 15 coffee mugs I made in ceramics class and then docked me on that on my grade. A semester later, that was the fall to winter semester, in June, he found them behind some big rack in the ceramics room. But I didn't go and protest my grade. I was like, whatever. I was about to graduate, so I didn't care. But so I didn't even earn that C. I earned an A in that class, damn it. So I have a degree and I see the worthlessness of degrees. Now, you still should get an education because that's the game, you know, but you shouldn't go into debt over it. I'll tell you that. If you have to just go to junior college and pay cash, just do that. Do not get into the whole university scam of coming out of school 200,000 in debt or whatever. Don't do that to yourself. Let me check the chat real. Sean, you talking about Rob Liefeld, or that's War Shark Productions. Dead Jester, I didn't know how much I'd enjoy this until I started watching. Thanks, man. Great stuff, Dead. Oh, no problem. Dead Jester, don't be afraid to fail. It's the only way to improve. Kara 73 said yesterday, failure is the first attempt in learning, or something like that. FAIL, first attempt in learning. I wish it was first attempt at learning, but then that would be FAL. That'd be FAAL. But I love the sentiment there, that there is no such thing as failure. There's only quitting. And I firmly believe that. So, but yeah, I love answering questions. I was a sports. I coached kids soccer at first when my kids were little. And then once my son and daughter were old enough, my daughter actually played a year of tackle football when she was 8. I coached football forever because I played it, and it was a big, big, big influence on my life and my mindset to suffer to win and all that, all the kind of thing you need. And so I love coaching you guys if you want to ask questions and learn what I think. And I'm not right about everything. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Go fact check what I say in your own life. Make sure it works for you, and make sure, because I don't know everything. I'm constantly evolving my opinions. One thing I tell you guys about truly trying to be smart is adopt a mindset. I've said this, I think, every day I've done this show of, I don't know. What don't I know? What don't I know? What don't I know? Like, desperately have that mindset of what don't I know all day, every day, because you know stuff, but you don't know, because you might know, 90% about whatever. And then you find out, oh my gosh, that 90%, that was wrong. It actually isn't that way. And that's okay. What's super, that's a weird way to talk. What's super not okay, which is, I don't know why I said it that way, is to be stubborn, is to believe XYZ, be shown that, nah, you were wrong about that. And like, nope, sticking to my guns, like, just to go down with the ship of stubbornness out of pride. Don't do that. If you're wrong, I voted Democrat. If you asked me 15 years ago, I remember being in Mike Barron, good friend of mine, great writer, but he voted for Bush and I voted for Gore or whatever. And I told him, I can't believe Bush won. I don't know anyone that voted for Bush. And it's like, yeah, you're in an echo chamber and you're hearing bullshit. And I do feel vindicated on Bush, though, because now we see with Trump, we do see those Republicans that I did hate, the Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan types, they are bad guys. So I was right about that. What I wasn't right about is that John Kerry or Obama or anyone like that was any better. And now we see clearly, we can see Trump and all them have exposed it. It was a uniparty. There was no difference between Bush and Obama and McCain and Clinton or any. There's no difference between those people. That's the same thing over and over and over. So, but yeah, I do feel vindicated about Bush because all the Republicans I know, they hate him now. And they all argued with me about him 20-something years ago. But I was like, no, this guy's awful. Like, what are you talking about? We don't belong in the Middle East like that. The global war on terror. You mean the scam for the Cheneys and all those weirdos to just make billions? So I do feel vindicated about that. But again, I had it wrong. So I looked at it black and white, which wasn't a good way to look at it. Like, well, if Bush is bad, which he is and was, then obviously Kerry and Gore are good. That's not a sophisticated way to look at things. In my defense, I was in my 20s. It was 20 years ago. And now I realize, nope, those people, they hate all of us. And they pit us against each other. Let me check the chat really quick. Do you still work with Dean Cain? Yeah, we're working on volume 2 of Dean Cain All-American Lawman. That's going to be coming along. So, yeah. Unggoy boy. Unggoy means monkey or gorilla in Tagalog, in Filipino language. He's the worst at drawing feet and hands. Well, just practice more. If I could recommend a book to you, hold on, let me grab it. It's at my drawing desk right over here. Get on Amazon right now. And he's got 3 books. These were written about almost 100 years ago. Andrew Loomis, one of the premier illustrators in American history. Andrew Loomis. He has fun with the pencil, drawing with the head and hands, and one other book. I have them all. They're masterpieces about how to, and he doesn't just teach you how to draw. He tells you how to think about business and drawing too, how to do with clients and stuff like that. Like, it's really amazing. And he covers, it's comprehensive. He covers everything. And I bust out this book all the time. His aesthetic for women is my aesthetic for women. Elegant beauty, not trashy OnlyFans porn beauty. I love elegant beauty in women. That's one thing. One of the things I admire most about my wife is she doesn't dress like a cheap whore. We'll go out and my wife is like, in the most beautiful like dresses, like skirts and sundresses, and it's beautiful and elegant. It's not trashy. The other guy I think is a master. These are new books. This one just came out last month. He's been doing these books for 10 years. Framed framed. It's all framed, and then it'll be different things by Marcos Mato Mestre. I'm going to put these in the chat, and then I'm going to get back to inking. Marcos, how do you spell that? T. That looks French, but he's a Spaniard. I don't know. It's Europe, right? Marcos Mato Mestre, and then Andrew Loomis. Get their work. If you want to know about how to be an artist, get their work. Those are the guys you need. Okay? But again, we spoke about epistemological knowledge and technical knowledge, right? You can't just read these books and then be good. That's not going to happen. Okay? You read the books and you do what's in the books over and over and over. I'm 46 years old. I'm very successful as an artist and illustrator. Do you know what? I read those books and then I look at the drawings in them and I practice them over and over and over. Even though I've already made it and worked for Mickey Mouse, Disney, Star Wars, DC Comics, my own successful publishing, you never stop training because you're never going to be perfect. So just keep grinding away to get better and better and better. Okay. So yeah, that's my mindset, is my football player and football coach mindset. That's how I approach this stuff. So, let's see. What's the future of All-American graphic novel only, future TV series? Well, we want to do everything with it. There's some stuff we haven't talked about behind the scenes, but we have a volume 2. I've already written the script and plot for volume 2. I've written it about 3 times. I'm going to rewrite it again and change a lot. I'm taking my time to get it right. I have these other books that I'm working on currently that I'm going to put out. So I'm kind of taking my time on that. The guy that's going to illustrate volume 2 is the same as volume 1. And he's currently doing the layouts on this book that you're looking at for me. So he can't even work on Dean Cain because he's working on this. But after this book, I want him to work on Dean Cain. I was going to have him work on this military thriller that I wrote, but I think I need to talk to him about it. I'm trying to get a hold of him the last few days. He lives in another country, so it's a little hard to get a hold of him sometimes because he's asleep when I'm awake. But I think I'm going to illustrate the military thriller and just move him on to Dean Cain because I was going to have him do the military thriller and Dean Cain. I was going to do this other thing. But I want the Dean Cain Volume 2 to come out sooner than that. And I think the fans do too. So I think that's the move. I'll talk to him about it, see how he feels about it. I like to keep my, they're not my employees, but the people I contract to work for me, I like to keep them happy. Make sure they feel creatively free, creatively fulfilled, and that they're excited about what they're doing and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm going to talk to him about that for sure. But yeah, that's the thing. Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, Volume 2, The Hong Kong Connection. It's already been written, but I need to rewrite it. There's some characters I added. It's too many characters at this part, so the plot was getting too thick. And yeah, I need to work on it some more. So, but that's all writing. All writing is rewriting. That's the old saying. So I'm going to get Empyrean when I've got a little more cash. Well, Empyrean, it'll be out. Oh, Ungoy Boy says it's in his cart now, the Andrew Loomis books. Good. Get those. Yeah, let's take a look at Empyrean really quick. I'll show you guys. Let me open another web browser page. Empyrean is a sci-fi epic in the vein of Star Wars and all that stuff you love. My stuff is very 1980s Spielbergian. It's that wild sense of adventure and awe and just fun. That's how I try to write my stuff. The movie to me that is the main, the essence, the spirit or whatever of what I like to do is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that's a perfect action adventure movie. And hold on, I'm getting these new pieces of art here. Earth Illuminated. I'm downloading some new colors from my colorist for this book. Download. Okay. I think Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is the perfect action movie. It's so much fun. It's so thrilling. It's mysterious. So that's how I try to make everything feel that I do. I try to make everything feel like that movie. That I want to capture that moment just the way you feel doing with that one. So Empyrean has a lot of that. It has a lot of thrills and adventure and the devil-may-care good guy with the smirk on his face and a beautiful woman at his side. And it's executed at the highest level because it's one thing to have good ideas. It's a whole other thing to be able to execute them, right? So let's present, share screen. And I'm not going to tell you story here, but here's some of Empyrean right here. Check this out. I'll zoom way in so you can see it. But yeah, look at that. It's a robot Fighting, helping the good guys defeat this other robot. Look at this guy's getting his face kicked off. Fighting in this. Look at how cool that is. Look at how cool this is. And I hired a colorist. I was coloring this book, but I'm like, I'm trying to write 3 other comics and illustrate, do the inks on one, and like I don't have time to color. And I've got some people I've hired to do some colors, and it's outstanding. Look at how great this looks. Look at this. There's Mr. Henry. Yeah, I love it. This is awesome stuff. Look at this bad guy. Look at him. Come on, those are bad guys. This is badass, this stuff. You know, you're going to absolutely love this. And I'm giving you what you want. You just want to be entertained, right? That's the first thing you want. When you fork over, after what Biden did to the economy, I understand some of your wallets are a little tight. I get that, dude. I've been there in the past. Thank God. Financially, very blessed now. But I get it, dude. I remember what it was like to be, oh my God, looking at my bank account. And I know some of you are there, and you're going to be okay, damn it. You're going to be okay. Never quit. And when I take your money and you back me, you crowdfund me, you're going to get the best things, and you're going to get them on time. None of this multi-year waiting and all that kind of nonsense. Bullshit. We don't do that. That's unacceptable, completely disrespectful to people. Because what I know is this, people who back me are real people. It isn't just numbers on a screen or in some database, customer 000976B. It's like, no, it's Joe Smith, and he's a real person with a real family and real bills. And I'm trying to make his life a little bit better by giving him some fun entertainment and some gorgeous artwork. So, yeah, you're going to love this. You're going to absolutely love this. Putting everything I have into it. And you're getting work from people who have worked at the highest levels at Warner Brothers and Disney and all that. Like, that's where we come from. I don't hire people that are like amateurs. I would if you blew my socks off in some samples. But currently, I'm not hiring anyone else. I've got 2 people illustrating, me and another guy. I've got 2 people doing colors and another color assistant guy. And then me. I'm the letterer and designer for all this. So, yeah. Empyrean, you're going to absolutely love this. It's gonna blow your face off. So, yeah, you're gonna love it. Cranberry Langers looks cool. It looks amazingly cool. Yeah, and the Unstoppable Tyrus, it's just gonna blow your socks off too. If you love superhero stuff, you're gonna love Tyrus because they ruined superheroes there over at DC and Marvel. They really ruin them with all the woke crap. Look at this right here. Look at this. I'll bring this up on the screen. Super woke writer from Down Under, Tom Taylor. You heard right. Batman really is sleeping with the daughter of his parents' murderer. So you ask yourself what you want: thrilling adventure, or Batman is stooping someone that killed his mom and dad. You ask yourself what you want to buy. You tell me. Is this appropriate? Is this okay to just take great things like Batman and Superman and have no respect for the people that made it before you? Is this okay to just shit on this stuff like this? I don't think so. So glad I left. I'm so glad I left. Oof. Ungoy Boy says, love the colors. Well, the colors love you. And it's a great name, Ungoy Boy. I love a great screen name. It makes me laugh. There's a guy that shows up in the chat every once in a while, and his name is like, there's Indiana Jones, but he's like Mississippi Jackson or something like that. Oh, where is he? He was here the other day. I've seen him on my night tips. It's a very funny name. Yeah, I got a good chuckle out of that. So yeah, this is outstanding work. I'm going to text the colors right now because this page you're seeing right here, this is the first time I've seen it too. So you got to meet this page live with me at the same time. I'm going to text him. Hold on. Holy cow. The new colors are amazing. Way to go. There you go. Text him. So, yeah, there you go. So back to the drawing. Yeah, so that's Empyrean. That's going to, and I'm working with someone, a third party, to promote and crowdfund this and to fulfill it, like print and ship and pack and all that. So that'll be announced soon. We're working out the deal with the attorneys and all that. But yeah, just to get this thing streamlined, a much bigger audience and stuff like that. We're working on that right now. Kara, the question I ask is, does Bats know he's sleeping with the daughter of his parents' murder? It doesn't matter, Kara. It's inappropriate. You don't have sex scenes in Superman and Batman. I'm sorry. You want to have adult material, then make a new character that has adult scenes if you want, and see if you're good enough to get your own audience. But when you steal Batman's audience to infuse your filth, fuck you forever. Seriously. It's ultimate disrespect. You have no right to do that. You don't have a right to do that. This thing has been successful for years because other people did a great job, and now I'm going to stick my woke bullshit on it. No, fuck out of here with that. It's bullshit. So I don't care. The answer to your question is I don't care if he knows or doesn't know. That's not what Batman is. Batman is not a sex comic. I don't know if you know this. It's not what it's about. It's supposed to be about heroicism. I wasn't correcting you, Kara. Your question was legitimate. I was correcting the concept of what these people are doing. They're cultural vandals. They are cultural vandals. They might as well be going up to monuments and spray painting them. It's disgusting what they do, you know. So, haha, thanks, man. Geeks and gamers and nerdrotic get it wrong all the time. I appreciate you, man. Well, they probably get your name wrong because they didn't have a Filipino for a best friend. So what he's talking about is his screen name is Ungoy Boy. And Ungoy is a gorilla in Tagalog, right? Is it Tagalog or is it Kampangpangan? Which Filipino dialect is that? Because my buddy, the one I grew up with, he's my best friend, his family spoke Kapangpangan. They understood Tagalog, but that was their main tongue was Kapangpangan. So I know some Filipino stuff. I have my favorite Filipino foods. I was just at a birthday party. We had our pancit and our lumpia, and we had my favorite, the kare-kare. That's that braised oxtail in the peanut butter stew. You want to talk about good. Ooh, boy. 'Twas delicious. So what time is it? I got to go at 11:30. So I got to go in 10 minutes. All right, why don't we do a lightning round? If people have more questions, because I'll answer questions for sure. If you guys want to hear more about art or my thoughts on culture and this and that. I'm drawing the rock cliff that he jumped off of. I really love drawing the rock. I'm a very tactile illustrator. It's very important to me the way the tip of the pencil and the tip of the drawing surface feel, and the way my wrist feels, and the way my fingers feel. I don't know if it's from being an athlete or maybe it's this way for all artists, but I'm very aware of how my hand and finger and the way the pencil's scraping on the surface, the way it feels. And to throw these lines for the rock is really I really enjoy it. It's such a I don't know if you can even comprehend what I'm saying here if you're not an artist, but I really like doing this. There's just this dynamic feeling to doing this sort of thing. It really feels great. So, and I've always been that way about drawing. So it's a very tactile experience for me. Let's see, I saw something pop in the chat, but give me a second. Let's see. You and Eric, a few others are a reason why I can't let my niece read any of the comics out today. Other than you guys, I got her all of Yaira 1 and Yaira 2 and the statue. That's awesome, man. Yeah, we need people raised up in the arts that aren't woke monsters, you know. Art is not left wing. That is a psyop they've been trying for decades with the postmodern people after World War II. Art actually is inherently conservative, and I can make this argument piss off woke people. If you go like an archaeologist and you go dig up ancient civilizations, primarily what you find is art, old pottery, old mosaics, right? You'll find the art of the culture. How often is that art saying, you know what, Rome really sucks? Yeah, we Greeks, we hate Greece. You don't find that. You find them celebrating the glory of their people, the glory of their battles and their victories. And when you honor your heritage and your society, that is what conservatism is. All conservatism is hey, man, some people did some really great stuff for me in the past. I'm going to keep the fire alive. And that's why the disgusting stuff they do at DC Comics with Batman and all that, you're dishonoring your heritage of the people that came before you. So there really is a moral issue there. You know, that's why it's so disgusting. You're saying, instead of thank you to all the people who did this before you, you're saying F you, I know better than you. I'm better than you. And I went on to read about this Batman sleeping with the murderer of his parents. And we're going to find out more about Batman's father, Thomas Wayne. How much you want to bet what they're going to find out is Batman's father was a creep, right? That he was an asshole piece of shit. Because that's all these leftists can do is write stories about how much they hate their dad and hate their country and hate their family's religion and hate their culture and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, would you grow up? Would you just grow up? You know, isn't rebellion for 15-year-olds? Here you are pushing 50. Would you grow the fuck up, you idiot? Let's see. Seth Seib, I'm a Christian. I find a lot of Christian art is similar to woke and putting messaging first. If you did a biblical epic, which one would you do and how would you do it? I love the story of David and Goliath. I think I would work on that. What else would I want to work on? Because David and Goliath, you can do it as action, right? Because they have the battle with the Philistines and the Hebrews, and then you could do the big final battle with David and Goliath himself. So I think that'd be a really fun one. You get a lot of action in that. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to do something where it was just talking heads, because that's not the point of a illustrated action epic. So I don't know. Yeah, I think David and Goliath is the first that comes to mind. And I did do like a 5-page David and Goliath sample when I was trying to get a job in comics, like in the late 90s. I would write stories, just really short 4-page stories, using Marvel and DC and Wildstorm characters, and I'd ship them in, and they'd send me a rejection letter like 2 or 3 weeks later. And okay, that has enough texture on it. And one time I just did David and Goliath as the story, and I still have all those samples. I guess I'll show those to you guys someday. They're in a desk, hundreds of pages. I would draw 4 pages a week, and then I'd take them to by hand to DC Comics Wildstorm Studio that was here in San Diego. And I would go into that office and drop those off, and the other ones I would mail to New York for Marvel, and I'd mail the other ones to Oregon, where Dark Horse was. An Image I didn't bother with, because they didn't accept you to just apply to be an artist. Image was like, create your own book and we'll publish it for you, which is what they still do. And Image had, I don't know what the deal is now because I don't pay attention, had great deals on publishing because you would retain all the rights. You know what I mean? So that's a great model. There's the mattress he's jumping off of. What is he doing here? Why is he jumping off a cliff onto a mattress? You guys are gonna have to buy the Unsolved Tires to find out. Grok RPG for $5. Thank you very much, friend. Very generous. Hey, Gabe, I'm curious if that's Procreate you are using. And what dimensions do you do for the comics you create and work on? Thanks for the great stories. Hey, well, thank you for the support. Let's go into this document, and I'm going to leave soon at 11:30. Let's go into crop and resize, and we'll take a look. This is a 30 set. You can see it on the screen. 37 by 20 by 5315 pixel, 450 DPI. That's what I have here. Okay, now there's a lot of this that'll get cut off. Let me show you real quick. I'll open something to show you. This is going to take a minute. I'm going to have to open Adobe Illustrator to show you something. Applications. I'm going through my hard drive. Adobe Illustrator. Where is it? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a page in Adobe Illustrator to show you the finished art and how I letter it real quick. I've never shown you guys this. And when you're lettering it, you're also doing the design work. Okay, so let's find a page of a book we've already done. Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. Let's go there. Freelance. I'm opening folders. Freelance. Dean Cain, Volume 1, Issue 1, Final book. Hold on. I'm looking for the letter. Sorry. I don't. Oh, here it is. Okay. So where's a good example? Okay, here's a page. I'm going to open it in Adobe Illustrator and show it to you. Okay. And then we'll get this. Hold on. I have to grab another thing. Open. And we'll open. Sorry. I'm trying to hurry. Okay. And we grab this. Play, copy, paste. You'll see in a second here. Okay, so hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, this is taking so long. What I'm doing is okay. So here we go. Let's bring this up on the screen. I finally got it. I didn't know we were going to do this, but hey, let's do it. So this is Adobe Illustrator, and I have the page with pencils and colors in here. And what I created was a template. Okay, and this template, we'll move these balloons out of the way. Those are sample. Okay, so this blue and white thing, this blue thing here, what this does is it tells me where it's going to cut off the image, So then I know, so this is my comic book page. I know that the lighter area is safe to put the things in, and this area here, it's going to get cut off at the printer. Like the blade is actually going to cut the paper. So I put those in there, and then I'll put the word balloons in and stuff like that afterwards, So we'll move this out of the way, and that's how we do that. So, what was the question? I got so caught up in that. So you have to understand. You have to. I use Adobe Photoshop for colors. I use Adobe Illustrator for letters, and then I use Adobe InDesign to paginate the book for the printer. So there's a bit of work there with that, but it's actually a really fun process to do that. So, and here's the book without the balloons, right? So you just stick the colored page from Photoshop in, then you stick the balloons in, and then the letters. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So, but yeah, that's it there. So the dimensions, all that, that's how this stuff works. Let's see. Okay, let's close that. I hope that it was sort of I wasn't ready to answer that. Sorry. I hope that kind of gave you a glimpse at what I was doing. You know what? I can go over that stuff I can be prepared and show you guys how this stuff works, because that was right off the cuff and I didn't have the files formatted the way I wanted. So yeah, close that. Seth said, David and Goliath is the one I'm working on now. I'd love to do the Judges saga. That'd be awesome. I'd love to do Samson. That'd be fun too. A lot of violence in that one. Ungar boy, dude, I'd love an Old Testament Judges comic. That's Game of Thrones. I'm like, yeah. And okay, so that's everything there. It is 11:29. Guys, I need your help. I need you to do this right now. Finger, like I said yesterday, out of your nose. Take your finger out of your nose or your ear, whatever you were scratching, and hit the like and hit the share right now. Make sure you subscribe, because it unsubscribes people. YouTube has weird algorithmic nonsense they do. And then when you hit the share, are you hitting it right now? Say yes. Hit the share. Share this to your other social media and let people know that we have a lot of fun here, that I'm extremely knowledgeable and funny, and they can watch me work on the Tyrus comic, and they can learn about my opinions about life and art and how it all works. Okay. Grok RPG, awesome to see the secret sauce behind the scenes, how it's made. Yeah, I can go into a lot of that. And okay, guys, I love it. Make sure you watch the recorded videos too. I did one on the U.S. aid stuff, how the United States government, they've been ripping you off for decades, your tax money, throw it into a fireplace of all their woke friends. And I'm going to do one on the Tom Taylor stupid Batman thing. I'm going to do that too. Okay. All the links in the description. If you don't have Dean Cain All-American Lawman Volume 1, go right now to bigmancomics.com and get yourself a copy. I have just a few left of the first printing and just a handful of the autographed by Dean himself ones. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.